Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by Jaden Taylor. How's it going, man?
I'm doing pretty good. It's good to be on the show. I'm glad to be on and talking with you.
All right, so just kind of introduce yourself and kind of tell everybody what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Jaden Taylor. I'm a freshman at the Walter Cronkite School at Arizona State. I'm originally from Omaha, Nebraska, and coming out here and want to be a sports broadcaster, either that or would like to be a technical director down the line. I kind of got into sports broadcasting really more so my a little bit in my freshman year of high school. Really got a lot into it the sophomore year of high school, and it's kind of grown from there. And I'm getting a lot of opportunities out here at Arizona State and hoping for more down the line.
So let's just kind of talk about how you wanted to become a broadcaster. Like what's like I want to do this.
Yeah, so originally as a kid, it wasn't as much of an aspiration, really wasn't as much of a thought process for me. As a young kid, however, I was a person that, was a really big baseball card guy. I was big into hockey a little bit too, with like table hockey, a little bubble hockey setup. And I'd
Yeah,
make my own leagues. So I'd like, kind of be a little kid in my own room and like have 20,000 different rule setups and different notebooks and all this kind of stuff. Oh, it's gonna like the amount of paper that I used as a kid is way too
yeah.
much. But from there, like I kind of just like commentate the games a little bit in my own head and would just come back and make the little game, look at the stats, based upon whatever these statistics were on the back of the baseball card, or how it would work on the little table hockey rink. So from there, just that kind of really started it, but I never really had truly gotten into it. Going into like middle school, early high school, originally wanted to be an actuary of all things, which was
Really?
weird. I had an actual career day thing my eighth grade year, with Woodman, the Woodman Tower, which is in Omaha. It's like the biggest life insurance company, probably west of the Mississippi. And they went to me and they're like, you go to UNL, you get a degree there, you get 80% off. Like we'll pay for 80% of your student loans, and you're getting 80K out of college up to 120K. I thought that was cool. Great. That's a great way to, get going. It's a great way to be able to have a career and, do what I want in life. And then I realized, I'm just projecting how long people live. And then, I'm literally putting a projection on when somebody's going to die. And that didn't sound too fun to do that for the rest of my life. So, I kind of worked around some stuff, figured out what I want to do a little bit. And I originally had the opportunity to be a writer at my high school, for West Side Wired, which had been a like we actually had like state championships for journalism, and we'd been a multi-time state champion. It was the third year that straight that we had won it. My freshman year, had the ability to be a part of that and be one of the main writers, for the sports journalism part of it. And I did that up until my senior year. Was originally the head beat writer a little bit my freshman year, got to that in my sophomore year, covered, a state champion football team, state semifinalist volleyball team, state semifinalist basketball team. And the writing was a bigger piece of it to start off with. But along with the writing my sophomore year, we came into an aspect of, we had kind of streamed before. We had, like an old mixer, a mono mic, an old bad headset that didn't really work too well, and a camcorder and a capture card, essentially. It was a one camera stream. I made our first graphics on Pages, didn't know how to do Photoshop. So literally use like the Apple application Pages and set that up in that own right. So from there, it just kind of grew. And with COVID and everything, in the next 2 years' time, we ended up coming into a spot to where I made it into an own club for our school, got in over $20,000 worth of advertising money in rather 2 years. And we upgraded a ton, a lot of trial and error, a lot of production, gimmicky type of things that I had to figure out. Sometimes was kind of just MacGyvering it a little bit to figure some things out. But by the time the late my junior year, and then really full on going into my senior year, we were contracted by professional groups to go to the state events. We were, a club worth of 25 different people. I was lucky enough to commentate probably 90 to 95% of those games, and also be able to put the production together for it. And we had wireless cameras, wireless setups, backboard camera setup, and it was a great opportunity. And then later on, or beginning kind of the start of the summer, my junior year, in between at the end of my junior year. I played baseball high school and didn't end up making the state tournament my junior year, but had the opportunity to get contracted to go do those games for the state tournament because they had never done it before. They'd just like done like a one camera stream, and the broadcast squad that we brought together was great. And then I put like 3 or 4 different schools, friends that I knew in the area that we all just kind of loved doing it. We did it for our own school. We brought everybody together and put a huge broadcast together. And it was really big. Got to do the state championship for baseball, which had never actually been like streamed to that magnitude before. And it was a great opportunity. My senior year, we got to do the same thing. I was the head of broadcast operations for it while also playing in it. So that was a mix of different things. And then from there, I got the opportunity to do my first summer collegiate league stuff this past summer for the Corn Belt League. Knew that it was probably time to hang up the cleats, and found a way to be able to make some money off it. We did 50 games, brought the same people that I brought together for the state tournament stuff, and had an incredible summer, and just had a bunch of fun commentating games, producing games. Did some technical directing on the own right, and it was an incredible experience. So it's got a long way to get there, but just kind of an answer on just how I've gotten to where I've come here with Cronkite.
So what have you been able to call?
Um, so originally it was just high school stuff for West Side, state tournament stuff for Nebraska state tournament. So Nebraska volleyball, Nebraska state basketball, women's
Yeah.
and men's. Some of the high school stuff here at Cronkite, or at least going into past high school. Of course, the Corn Belt League stuff. This year, I got the opportunity to call some of the Arizona Fall League games, which I'm planning to continue to do this next year. Had a couple of friends that really close to and reached out originally, just trying to figure out like how to be in the Cape Cod League. That was an aspiration for me, and somewhere that I really wanted to go. And found some resources and found some people here that knew about that, and also got some opportunities to be able to work in the Arizona Fall League, called games for them. I've called some 2 or 3 different Arizona State Pac-12 volleyball games, a couple for Insider, a couple for Blaze Radio as well. Had a great opportunity to go to Las Vegas twice this year. Actually, it was a bunch of fun. One for the Creighton versus Arizona State men's basketball game. That was up in at Michelob Ultra Arena. Being a Creighton fan all my life, it was great to be able to do that. And then Las Vegas again for the women's basketball tournament for the Pac-12. I'm the head of broadcast operations, a lot smaller of an effort for Phoenix College. It's simply just the money that I personally have out of my own pocket to be able to put my own equipment together. But we do both baseball and softball at Phoenix College. Working as a producer for Phoenix Rising as well as Cronkite Sports. So a lot of different stuff. But have a lot of opportunities this year to call games and to get better. Also had the opportunity to do the MLB Desert Invitational for MLB.com this year. So a lot of MLB.com games. It was a bunch of fun to be able to have that experience this year.
Getting a lot of opportunities there, bud.
Yeah.
So and these are just kind of the ones that you just went out and got.
Yeah.
Like some of them you just created on your own. Just like what's that like?
I think I've learned that I think from an early age on, from my, learn from my father and learn from the people in my family, it's like, if you're gonna go do something, go really do it. You go out and take it, So there's the competitive atmosphere that I think comes in this industry, and I think it can be played off in some different ways. There can be some negative connotations to it. I think there's both a way to be competitive and go try to get better and do it in a good way and still be a good person to be able to do it. I think that's the greatest thing that's about Cronkite and the people that are here versus any other school, where it's a competitive atmosphere. It's a lot of people that want to get better, but it never really seems like we're always trying to push one person or another. We're always trying to push each other to get better. That's the greatest thing that I've had with a lot of my friends, and maybe it's just people that I surround myself with. But I've had a lot of people that have been around me to produce everybody and get ourselves really good. So I've always had that mentality that I want to go, make my own opportunities and find ways to get better. Because if I don't, again, like I mentioned, it's an incredibly competitive industry. There's only so many people that get these jobs. So, 4 years down the line, I know I got a lot more to think about going to then. And I know I've been told 20,000 times to slow down, but I'm a person that I want to get better. I want to learn how to get better. And at the end of the day, not a person's going to outwork me. That's not a thing that's going to happen. And I like to, keep that for myself and know that myself, because if I'm continually working, I'm continually getting better. I'm confident that I can get to where I need to be someday.
Yeah. So just kind of talk about like what your plans are for the summer, like what you got going on.
Yeah, so I'm going to be the broadcaster for the Kalamazoo Growlers in the Northwoods League. Originally was set up to be, it was actually a former Cronkite grad's place that he was going to go to this past year, Ben Picorni. Picorni, honestly, is a person that I love to talk to so much, and it was a senior this year. Got to talk to him a little bit and meet him a little bit to see what his feelings are like going there. He was a fan favorite to every margin in Kalamazoo. And I mean, they made t-shirts after some of his calls. It was just an incredible atmosphere that Kalamazoo provides. So originally when, kind of setting up my reel and my resume to kind of format what it needed to be at the professional level and what I could feel like it could be at this level, I reached out to really everybody that I could and saw the offers that I had on the table. And originally it was actually at Battle Creek. That was my best offer. Had some looks at the Cape, had some looks with the old league that I was at, a couple other places in the woods. But looking at Battle Creek, it was a spot to where originally Ben was going to be going back to Kalamazoo this year, so it was going to be an opening. My feeling was, okay, why not find a way to keep that Cronkite line, but start off at Battle Creek, see if that's the biggest thing for me, be there for a year, and then see, if I want to stay here, I'll stay here. But if the opening for Kalamazoo comes up next year, it could be something for me. Ben ended up, getting the opportunity late in January, or late December, early January. He ended up getting told he's going to be the broadcaster for the single A affiliate of the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Bradenton Marauders, and that left an opening at Kalamazoo. So I reached out, and both places are owned by the same person, Brian Colopy, both the Battle Creek Battle Jacks as well as the Kalamazoo Growlers. And I reached out and saw if that was an opportunity. The spot was open, and they were open to me moving over to Kalamazoo. So I think it's an incredible spot. I'm incredibly excited to get going with this summer because there's a lot of talent. It's the reigning Northwoods League champions that are bringing back a lot of that talent on the pitching stand. Plus, they bring back some really solid guys in the lineup that I think are going to do some incredible things this year. And for a team that essentially barely made their way into the playoffs, or barely made their way through the playoffs originally, it's a tough second half last year for them, an unlikely story for them to get the championship game this past year. I think this team has a lot of great things this year and can be another really big contender in the Northwoods League. And there's a lot of things that I want to add this year to what they do. They're a really kind of fun group. They want to, really enhance the, fan atmosphere that they bring to it. I want to be the person that really makes the media relations part of it, even more so than the broadcasting, something that really stands out for Kalamazoo. Putting together full on game notes, 14-page game notes every single day, with info on every single player, doing all that kind of stuff like that, adding some possibilities about some social media stuff, a lot of different things. So, but overall, I'm the solo broadcaster for both home and away. They are, really nice enough and really open enough that they want their broadcaster at every single game to be able to do it, whether it's home or away. So 72 games in 76 days, plus if I get any postseason. So it's going to be a grind of a summer, but I'm really looking forward to this opportunity. And at the end of the day, this is the style of a setup that I have to deal with if I want to get to a minor league level.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you want to take away? What do you want to learn from this experience that you're gonna have?
Yeah, I think going back to the minor league aspect of it, you are looking at a minor league broadcaster, which is, I think, for a lot of people that are doing summer ball, that's the ultimate goal, to either be a minor league broadcaster somewhere or be a college affiliate guy. So I think the Northwoods League, just in and of itself, since day one, has been set up to be the league that prepares you best for what minor league baseball is going to be like for a lot of college players. I think it's the same regard for a lot of broadcasters. Again, there is a daily grind that really goes into it. And I want to be able to learn some of the intricacies that go into it, not just broadcasting. Because at a minor league level, no matter where you're at, a lot of the people that are those team guys, not don't just have the ability of being a great broadcaster, right? But they have the ability of having those other utilities to add on top of them. Really, good designing on game notes, being able to do, social media graphics, being able to add in video pieces, being able to, find a way to, sometimes like Ben McCourty did last year, literally flipping hot dogs before games because that was needed for that night, So I think that's the greatest thing about Kalamazoo is that they're a family oriented group that is one that's like all hands are on deck, or we're going to figure out how to do the best thing we possibly can in every margin of it. And it's something I'm really happy to learn about because I think I have that connection a little bit, being from a smaller town in Omaha, kind of the outskirts of Omaha a little bit. So having those kind of traditions and having those kind of connections is something that I think grows so much more in broadcasting because at the end of the day, we're doing this for the people. You are doing this for the community that surrounds itself around the team, right? You are a person that is telling the stories of the great people that are trying to show off for this community and the community in and of itself. So I think if you don't take that time to step back and understand that, I don't think you're really doing your job. So I think being able to be there for a full summer, sit down with these people and really be with them to be like, hey, what's your story? What's your place? It's something I'm really excited to learn and just kind of engross myself around.
All right. Well, Jaden, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck to you in your broadcasting career. We will have you on again sometime. That is for sure.
Sounds good. I appreciate the time.